Hi everybody, this is Towanda Braxton. I'm doing a WEtv takeover. Yay! WEtv, let the Braxton take over. What were they thinking? Let the Braxton take over, right guys? Right. I'm so excited to do a WEtv takeover. Yes, it's me, Towanda Braxton. And I just wanted to tell you guys, it's been a minute. We have been in quarantine. I'm pretty sure you guys already know that you guys have been in quarantine too. So there's been a lot going on. The Braxton Family Values has been in quarantine. And I'm just telling you guys right now on WEtv's live, since I'm taking over, I'm letting you guys know the Braxton Family Values is coming back this fall. Yay! Yay! So that's exclusive from WEtv and Towanda Braxton because yes, I am taking over. And I'm really, really excited. Since the quarantine, I've been doing a lot of stuff. As you all may know, that I have my own skincare line called Ladybug Skincare. And you guys can DM me and I'll give you a 20% promotional discounted code. So you guys can go ahead and go to ladybugskincare.com and make sure you go to King Ladybug's YouTube so you can see what's going on with me and my honey. Just some sneak peeks of what's going on inside of our lives before you see Braxton Family Values, which is amazing. I want to know what you guys are doing, what you guys are going through right now. I know it's a lot of stuff that we really need to talk about with the protesting and the death of an amazing father, George Floyd, and seeing his daughter today was amazing and very touching. So I have some very, 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 very special guests that I'm going to be talking to in just a few minutes. So yeah, I'm taking over. I'm taking over WEtv. Let me tell you guys a series that I just started watching today that I think you guys are going to love, especially you girls. You're going to love it. It's called, what is it?
How you doing?
I just forgot. Almost to Death is what it is. Almost to Death, and it's with Christina Applegate. Is on Netflix, and it's amazing. And I want to say, hey, it's a frontliner on here. Hi, exceptional nurse, frontline worker, hard to stay home, RN, mental, physical, and emotional tie. I know you are, and we want to say thank you so much for all your service and all your work that you're doing and your sacrifices that you're doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, exceptional nurse. Yay, it's your senior year in high school. That's amazing. Are you going into your senior year or did you graduate? If you graduated, congratulations. Who's trying to get on? Let me see. Damien. So here's my first guest, guys. Let me tell you guys, I have known, how come I can't do them? I can't go live with them for some reason. Damien, you're gonna have to request, go all the way up when you first logged on, go scroll all the way up through all of the messages and just hit request, and then I'll be able to see you, because for some reason I can't just click on your name and go live with you for some reason. I don't know why. That's weird. So yes, just scroll all the way up till you see request and then click on request, Damien. So let me just tell you guys about Damien. I've known Damien for a very, very, very long time. He is a retired lieutenant detective. He was a police officer in Baltimore, and he's also an ex-Marine, and he wants to talk to us about everything that's been happening, all the sensitive things that we've been talking about and seeing on Instagram and on your news. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you shoot me some questions, because he is a ball of information. Okay, maybe I can do it this way.
I told him to sign out.
Yeah, this is... Don't y'all hate when that happens? Don't y'all hate when you're trying to talk to somebody and then Instagram acts up? I hate that. Yes, I hate that. Yes, you hear what he has to say. I know we talked for a minute yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a WEtv takeover, so it would be amazing if you would come on here, just shed some light about, he was an inside, so he's on the inside, and then he's on the outside now. So Oh, you said my hair, my skin look amazing. Thank you. Because underneath this, I have I have very light makeup on today because I have to go to an event after I do this live takeover with WeTV, which is amazing. Yes, who said it's Teddy Riley life? Yes, Instagram is Teddy Riley. It is. So right after that, I'm going to run to this event. So I had to put a little something on because there'll be some press there. So yes, guys. So I want to know how you guys are feeling. I want to talk to a couple of you guys to see. Let me talk to this exceptional nurse because I want to know what's going on with the coronavirus. Are we on pause? Are we having an intermission or like what's going on? I want to know because she declined. Because there's a lot of people out here when they're protesting and they're not wearing their protective gear, like their masks or anything like that. So I just want to know, is it really, really safe out there? You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I know that a lot of people are on the front line, even outside doing the protesting. So I just want to know how you guys are feeling about that. He said he's going to try his cell phone. I am waiting for Damien. Here he is. It's 2020. I'm gonna need Damien to learn how to get on Instagram live. He's coming on. He's about to come on right now. Thanks, honey, for calling him. Appreciate that. So we're waiting for Damien. So make sure you guys get your questions together. Hi! It's about time.
What's going on, Miss
Hi.
Towanda? How are you?
Damien. So I gave him a little tidbit about you. So I want you to go ahead and, I mean, I don't know all of your resume. I just know a little bit about your resume. So can you just tell everybody about you and the things that you've done and what you're retired from and all that good stuff?
Okay, I was in law enforcement for about 26 years. I started back in '94. I've done everything from SWAT to training to education and training. I rose to the level of shift commander of homicide for the Baltimore City Police Department. Yes, I was active during the Freddie Gray situation. But more importantly, before I was even a police officer, I was a Black man in the United States. And that's the most important thing that I want to bring to this. I want to bring those elements of a Black Marine Corps veteran, a Black police officer, a Black executive, a Black trainer, a Black father of Black children, and all the things that go with that. So I'm here to answer any type of questions, open book, as candid as you guys want to be, because what I want to do is make sure people understand that there are good police that are trying to make a difference. That's the reason I joined. I saw a lot of improprieties by police, and I've always said it's easy to complain about the ingredients inside of a pot, but if you're not willing to put them on an apron and add some ingredients to it yourself, then you're just a critic. So let's try to, be constructive throughout this process, not be critics, but look for an answer to some of the devastating things that are happening in our community.
Okay, well, I have a question, Dee. So with all the protesting that's going on and the rioting, what's your take on the rioting part of the protest?
This is what I will say to the people who really want to protest. Stop allowing other people to hijack your cause, because there are a lot of good people. Protest is needed. Protest is supposed to be something that brings attention to things that aren't going right in society. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But then you have the people that want to take advantage of everything around them. They're the same people that would take advantage of any opportunity in a negative way. Don't let those people hijack your cause by bringing devastation to your community. Keep in mind, and I'm not just talking about my community, but nobody rioted in my community. Nobody broke into stores in my community. And you have people, and I'm not going to make this a race thing because it's bigger than race. Mm-hmm. You have people that are being involved in these quote unquote protests, turning them into riots, driving around, passing bricks out to young African-American men to cause devastation. And then they're getting in their cars, they're driving off. Right. And they can still go to their CVS the next day and their Walmart the next day and still get the things they need to make sure that their families are cared for. Meanwhile, they're giving you the fuel, literally and figuratively, to burn down the things around you. I think what happened in Atlanta was the worst case example. Atlanta, to me, is the minority mecca. You have female business owners like yourself. And, you know, I've known you since before I became a police officer.
Right.
I know Wampa, I know Towanda. I'm not going to get too specific, but I know beyond this, 30 years of relationship with you and the family. And with that being said, you guys have built a legacy, but you have people that will come in and strike a match figuratively and literally to destroy that legacy immediately, and then go to where they come from and live their lives like nothing ever happened. And the reality of it is, we start to look as if we don't care about Mr. Floyd, that we care about stealing Nike tennis shoes, and we care about grabbing a 27, 28, I guess bigger now, 45-inch television, when the real cause is to try to change the systemic racism. Or I'm even going to sway away from racism in some of this, Towanda, because I think if you really want to look at it, there are very few real racists in the world. Let me explain that and make it sound.
Okay. You know, I'm listening because I want to know. Did you say there's few racists here?
There are few true racists. Let me explain why I say that.
Okay.
When there were really true racists in the world, that would be the same person that would say, if there was a blood transfusion coming from an African-American person, they would die before they would accept that transfusion.
Okay.
I don't know anybody that's going to say that. They're going to take your blood.
Okay.
Trust me on this one.
Okay.
What actually is more apparent in our society is our cultural divide. There's a definite cultural divide. And it's clear in our election. We put these people in place. Think about it for a second. Let's look at culture. You and I are around the same age. You're 21, I'm 21. So
exactly.
We're right around the same age. So with that being said, there's a certain culture that we were reared under. You know, some people say the hip hop culture, the R&B culture. There's certain culture that we were reared under. We keep electing 70-year-old men that aren't minorities. If you believe that they don't have a certain culture, even if they've decided that it's the wrong culture, they were reared in a certain culture. If you're 70 years old and understand that the 60s are right around the corner, then they were adults during the 60s. So they were reared in a certain culture. And what we have to do is we have to try to communicate in such a way that we start to modify the cultural thought process. And that's not unique to just the civilian populace. That's true with policing as well. Policing was designed to do a certain thing. When you hear our president, and unfortunately we do have to call him our president if you're a citizen of the United States, and I served our country, so he's our president, whether I voted for him or not, he's our president. But when you hear him say words like dominate, words mean a lot. And when you say we're going to dominate the streets, not become a community or a commune, a group of people who decide to work together to come to some sort of means, but they want to dominate. Why do you have to, why is that the thought process? I'm going to dominate something. And unfortunately, some of that culture, their mindset is the only way I can continue to flourish in my own way is to dominate anything that's different than my mindset. And
I want to say something, Dee. So the pure definition of racism means that you feel that your race is superior to another race, right? That's Webster's dictionary's definition, right? So by that particular definition, do you feel what has occurred and what's been occurring in these past 100+ years that there are certain races who feel that they are superior to the Black race?
I think it's bigger than that, T. I think it's fear of not being superior. I think the fear is sometimes when you look at yourself, you realize that a group of people that have been oppressed for an extended period of time have become equal financially from an education pool and intellectually as you have in a very short period of time. Keep in mind, realistically, we couldn't drink out of a water fountain until the late 60s. We couldn't have financial institutions except for Black Wall Street, which I hope somebody ultimately makes a movie about at some point. We didn't have the financial backing to be successful. But again, using Atlanta as the example, Georgia as the example, we've come a long way in a very short period of time. And I think some of the fears or the cultural biases put people in place that are a little afraid of what could be if they don't dominate the streets.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is all of this is happening due to fear.
Oh, everything, even when you see a police officer who should have never probably been a police officer, but you see a police officer put his knee on the neck of an African-American man for 9 minutes and cause his death, there's some sort of fear there. Even after he had him subdued, the fear wasn't the threat of him being harmed. The fear was, I have to show that I am dominant so that the rest of the people, the onlookers, understand you can never do this. So I'm going to make sure, even after it should have stopped, they're going to make sure that that dominance is still there. And that's what's happening more than anything. It's the dominance. People want to culturally dominate other people in order to, in their minds, preserve their position as opposed to sharing position.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. I know this is going to be a pretty hard question, but you're not a police officer anymore. You're retired, so I just want to ask these questions.
Yes.
So, have you, being a police officer for 20 plus years, did you ever encounter any situation like that where you had to pull the sleeve of one of your fellow police officers to say, hey, don't do that? And if so, what was the situation?
Absolutely, and it's never happened as a commander or a supervisor of any unit. It actually happened early in my career where some of the senior officers were getting a little overzealous with a young African-American man. I'll name the street on Catherine Street in Baltimore City, Southwest District area, for those that know it. And I had to actually, like you said, make my voice known that, hey, that's enough. We have them, that's enough, let's end it there. But what happened throughout that process is I got that reputation for, you can't do that around him. That doesn't mean that it wasn't done somewhere else, but the reputation was, you can't, if he's here, you can't do that. And then when I started to ascend up the ranks where I had the ability to influence people's careers based on my observations, it definitely was not done around me. And you sometimes get a label because of that, because you may not be a team player, you're not one of the guys, but the reality about me, and you know me well enough to know, I've never sought to be a person who became part of a group. I was more along the lines, I would rather create the group myself so I can ensure who's part of that inner circle. So yeah, it happens, it's seen, but a lot of it is trained behavior. A lot of it is observed behavior. And a lot of it is based on the inadequacies and the inability for police departments to use policy and evolve policy throughout time. I've been in police departments that may only review their police policy every 15, 16 years. And they just go what was back in the 70s. Or you look at the policy date, even if we're talking about what happened to Mr. Floyd, that kneeling knee on the neck is part of their policy. It's been in their
Wait
policy.
a minute, hold on. It's a part of what policy?
It's a part of their use of force policy. It's something that's called the use of force continuum. Absolutely. It was put in policy April of 1982. I'll send to you, because you can no longer get a hold of it for whatever reason. You can't click on the policy anymore and see it. I have it. So I will make sure that you get a copy of that. And I want to say that is section 3-511. I actually have it written down somewhere. I forgot my notes.
But has it changed though?
It has not changed since 1982. And that's what they're going to lean on. They're going to lean on the fact that they were only functioning within policy. Now, what I say about policy is this, like I say about anything else in life, just because you can do it, should you do it? So you have to think about yourself. Okay, I have the absolute right to pull my gun and fire it if a person is coming at me with a stick. But should I? Are there other things I could do? And once I have a person secured and handcuffed, they're my responsibility. Because their vulnerability and their health and their welfare and their well-being it falls on me. My goal is to protect those people who can't protect themselves. So once he's in a position where he can't protect himself, then it becomes my responsibility to protect them. And I think if there was a failure, not if there was a failure, it was definitely a failure. But the biggest failure was all the officers on the scene, none of them thought for 1 second that just as much as it was their responsibility to police and find out whether there was a false bill given to a vendor, it was also their responsibility to make sure the health of George Floyd was tended to, and they didn't. And that's what's unfortunate. That's the biggest issue that I think policing needs to make a change with, because at what point did they not look at him as a human that they needed to care for?
Right.
Something happened. Something clicked somewhere in that process where they disregarded his yelling, his words, everything he said was none of it was tended to. I mean, even if it's just sitting upright, we're trained not to put someone prone on their chest because it's hard to inhale, especially those of us that are bigger guys. And even me, I'm not huge, but just the fact if you are laying on your chest on a hard surface, and I encourage everybody to try it, go lay on your chest on a hard surface and see if you can take a deep breath. And the answer is you can't. It's very hard to do. So, yeah, there were a lot of things that we should do better. I encourage every police department to look toward accreditation. And what accreditation is, there's certain bodies that will look at your police policy and it will use the best national practices, peer-reviewed practices, and help you comb through your policies. And they do it on a regular basis. A lot of police departments will write a general orders or policy booklet, and they will never come and visit it until there's a Freddie Gray situation, or there's a Floyd situation, or there's any other situation.
So do you think since this incident has happened, do you think that they're going to change those particular policies? You think that that's a step in the right direction to change those policies? Or what can we do as citizens? What can we do to help push those policies out? I mean, it's like that's like Flintstones, you know what I'm saying? That's like the Stone Age to me. So how can we change? How can we help better the police and assist you in that?
You need to push for boards that are inclusive to citizens. Boards where I sit down with citizens and we have a conversation on the best practices across the nation and why we do things this way and what this use of force is used for. And if you have police commissioners and mayors that will not allow those type of interactions with the police department, then you need to have a special interaction with those mayors, and you need to interact them right out of their positions.
Yeah.
Because you guys vote the mayors in, and then the mayor hires the police commissioner.
Got it.
So you got to understand that mayor has to, and I don't think we hold the mayors accountable enough when police departments do things that don't go right. Because now my question to that mayor would be, you brought a commissioner in at some point, whether it's African-American, whether it's female, whatever the gender or nationality is. Right. Why did you bring them in? And what was your mandate to him or her when you brought them in? Was it community activism, policy review, whatever your mandates were?
But Dee, if we don't know those particular policies, right? Like the ones that you just told us about. If we don't know those particular policies, how can we help change it? So that means that we need people like you, who's been in the law enforcement for a long period of time, who's willing to come out to speak and be honest with the citizens and say, these are the things that needs to be changed. So you're saying that we need to talk to our mayors. We have to have, what do you call those? What do you call those? Like
civilian review boards, civilian oversight.
Not just that, like when the community comes together, you know, like, okay, we have to have those types of things to happen. I think in every county or every city, to say these are the things that has been in place and these are the things that needs to be changed, because I did not know that was a part of the whole little policy. I had no idea that they are allowed to put their knee in your neck. So is there a specific time or amount of time that they can put their knee in their neck? Or is it saying, okay, yes, I can just put my knee in this person's neck and then that's it?
Any use of force is supposed to be applied.
Town hall meetings, that's it. Thank you, Dolly.
Town hall meetings, right.
Yes.
And every use of force is supposed to end when the threat ends. And we normally describe the end of the threat once the person is handcuffed. That's what
Well,
we normally
he was handcuffed.
Absolutely.
He was handcuffed. They put
Yes.
him in the car, then they took him
Yes.
out of the car.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
policy, what
They
should not have been in
overstepped.
effect.
I would say that they overstepped the policy.
Yeah.
I just want people to be aware that when this case goes to an adjudication process, when it goes before a judge, I know that there are going to be defense attorneys that will say, this is why they did it, because they were trained that way. And that often will change the dynamic of innocent or guilty. Because if you were trained to do something that way and you only operated within the parameters of your training, then you try to fall back on that. But again, there are additional pieces to that.
Right. They
where
took
they
it outside
didn't
that
stop,
box.
and they went outside that
Gotcha.
box. But I just want people to know that at some point, you're probably going to hear that, and that's going to be what they pushed against. And that may be the difference between a murder conviction and a manslaughter conviction.
Got it.
Or some sort of malfeasance, one of the three feasance that you can possibly get as a law enforcement officer. So that's why I wanted to bring that to the attention. And most importantly, I think we need to hear the voice of the community. Police have gotten to a point where we want to tell you what you need as opposed to listening to what you want. And that's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yes.
We want to tell you that there's a need for you to do X, as opposed to the fact that as servants to you, we should be saying, hey, Ms. Braxton, what do you need? What would you like to see in your community to make your community safe? It's my responsibility to execute a plan to make your community safe. It's not my responsibility to tell you what to do or what you should desire for safety. You know what you want for safety. If you decide you want to keep your door open 24 hours a day, my responsibility is to say, if you're going to do that, then also do this. Not, you better lock your door or you're on your own. I'm not providing the service. Just because you're not desiring what I want to give you does not mean that your desires should go unheard. And I think, unfortunately, the African-American community in particular, I'm speaking from that standpoint because I'm African-American, we've been asking for certain things for an extended period of time. And don't get me wrong, some of those things we're getting, you see a lot more African-American commissioners and mayors and things of that nature. But what we have to remember, much like the President of the United States, we often focus on the head and we don't focus on the people who are actually on the ground providing the service. So just because the chief of a police department might be African-American or an African-American female, who are they surrounding themselves with? Who's making the policy? Who's instructing the officers? Because those are the people that are going to play the biggest role in ensuring the safety of people in the community.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on with me today, Damon. You enlightened. Listen, I know some new information now.
I'm glad you do. That's why I'm here. And you know that you can reach out to me. I think this conversation shouldn't end here, even if we have
I don't. I think we should do this again. And thank you, WEtv, for allowing me to take over. We should do this again. And I'm so glad that you learned how to go live. Thank you. Welcome to 2020. Welcome. Yes, you did.
Right.
Yes, we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna call you again. Maybe we can do it later on this week, if not next week. But I'm definitely gonna call you on again.
You call, I'm there.
I will, because it's just, education and knowledge of the situation kind of helps us to move forward as a community. You know what I mean? So we know what to ask for and we know what to say. We know how to handle the situation. So thank you so much, Damien. I can't wait for you to send that information to me. And as soon as he sends the information to me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna make sure that you see some of it. I can't send all of it, but I'm gonna send whatever he tells me that I can let you guys see, because I just think that we just need to be informed,
And I'd like to end with this, T, to the good police out there that are doing the right thing, keep doing the right thing. Policing does not begin with the community. It begins with your side partner. Make sure you hold them accountable.
Thank you, Dave. We're gonna have Damon come back on again with me on my platform at Towanda Braxton. So thank you. Let's do a hand clap for Damon. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Thank you, Mr. Carter. I'm gonna text you later. Wow, guys, that was so amazing. I learned a lot from having a conversation with him. And then outside of him being my friend, I just want to thank Damien for real for coming on here to, just to tell us all the different policies. I had no idea that was part of the policy. And I promise whenever he sends it to me, I'm gonna make sure that I'll put it on my particular and personal platform, because that's very, very, very important for everybody to see and know. Knowledge is key, for us to stick together and move forward. I'm waiting. You just got your Ladybug skincare. Yay, thanks, Braxton. Yay. Again, guys, make sure you go to ladybugskincare.com and get your Ladybug skincare. If you DM me, I'm going to give you a 20% promotional code. So, yes. Okay, ready to talk about COVID. Oh, so you ready to talk about COVID-19? I don't see David yet. Let's see. Yes, please. Here's another amazing guest here. Oh, Dave's here. Dave, give me 5 minutes. Let me talk to this nurse here, because I want to talk about this COVID. Did she decline me again? All right, we're going to go live with David until the nurse is ready. He's like my brother. I have so many amazing individuals in my life. David is like my brother. He works for the White House. That's how I met him, and we just clicked immediately. I was like, that's my brother. He was like, that's my sis. But more than just that, he is just a ball of information, guys. He's like the walking encyclopedia. I'm telling you right now, this is the person that you absolutely have to have in your life. You can't take him from me, though. You have to have him in your life.
We bonded.
No, I don't want to share. I don't want to share.
We bonded. We bonded for life.
Amazing. Here is Mr. David John.
I love you. It's so good to see you. I'm going to claim it. Who's that in the background? My family? Hey, family.
Hi. So, I don't know if you had a chance to hear Damien.
Just the end, the tail part of it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm following him now.
So much information. He told us about the policies that has been in place since the 80s, that they have not changed, with the knee and the neck, and that was a part of their procedure. So he's going to send me the policies, so I'm going to make sure that I put it on my platform, and I'm going to have them on my platform pretty soon.
Of course, you should.
So thank you again, WEtv, for allowing me to take over your Instagram. I know you guys are a little nervous, probably like this. Oh my God, Braxton is taking over. But it's informative, and it's something that we need right now.
We do need
this right now.
The world needs this, yeah.
David John!
Yes, sis. Yes, sis. I'm excited.
Hey, bro. Hey. So my question to you is, just tell me how you, as a Black man, and you've been in politics for a very long time. You've been very close to my favorite president.
Still my president.
President Obama. So from I want to know from your eyes, how are you viewing everything that's happening now with the riots and the protesting?
I'm weary. Every day I play Solange's Weary, literally and figuratively. It's playing in the back of my head right now. And there are a couple of points I keep making at every opportunity. One is that there are literal fires that are burning in our country right now, but our country, the soul of our country, has been on fire for centuries, right? There are so many connections between what's going on now that we are literally forced to reckon with, because we are homebound, those of us who are privileged enough to have homes, because there is a ever-growing body of evidence that is forcing people who would otherwise try and explain it away or dismiss white supremacy, racism, and anti-Blackness that have to sit with that, right? And there are people who are really now literally willing to risk their lives to ask for a change because they are impatient with the promise that at some point we'll deal with all this shit. And so I again say that because a lot of people are like, oh, this is going on now and this is about George Floyd. Yes, this is about George Floyd, but it's also about Ahmaud Arbery. It's also about Tony McDade, the Black trans man who was killed by the police in Tallahassee, Florida last week. 24 hours before Tony was shot by the police, died by cop, he was a victim of a hate crime. Today, sis, just today, we released a statement, the National Black Justice Coalition. It's the organization I'm happy to quarterback. We're a civil rights organization at the intersections of racial equity and LGBTQIA+ equality. Just today, we released a statement in the name of a sister named Ayanna Dior, a Black trans woman who was jumped by grown boys. I'm not going to say men because men don't hit women. They definitely don't jump women, cis or trans. But this sister was jumped. Simple car accident as we understand it. And there's video recording of grown boys beating a woman. And so what keeps me weary is that not only are we fighting as a community of Black people, beautifully diverse, right? As long as there have been Black people, there have been Black queer people, right?
Right.
That term and the way that it is used is a white construct. It is a tool of the oppressor, right? But we are fighting the vestiges of transatlantic enslavement and the oppression of white folks. And then those of us who are Black and queer, Black and have a disability, who have an intersectional identity and face other multiple forms of oppression, are also fighting within our own community. We're literally marching with people demanding for the world to respect that Black lives matter, and some of our lives are being taken by Black hands. And nobody's talking about that. And the fact that our people are dying keeps me weary.
Keeps you weary. So, you know, when I was talking to Damien, I specifically asked him about because he's a retired police officer, how he felt about the specific riots that's been happening. So we all know, and we've seen the evidence that that is not necessarily the Black American, this is not us that's starting these things. And I had several conversations with a lot of my different friends, different cultural friends. And what I expressed to them was like, listen, what I know about my community, we're not going to bust the Omni. We're not going to bust the CNN. How's that benefiting us? And there was a young lady who said, hey, yes, I stole a purse. You want to know why I stole the purse? Because I didn't have any money for food for my children. She said, I stole the purse and I sold it because I needed the money.
Right.
So I wanted to know what your perspective is about that.
I'm with you, right? So let's be clear. My sister Tamika Mallory said this when she was on the steps, right? Not too far from where they literally killed George Floyd, that we learned all of this from white folks. I'm real clear. I don't care about property that has already been insured. When that is your principal concern, when there are Black bodies, there is literally Black blood in the streets. Not only did we build this country for free, but we have to exist in a world where white people have the benefit of being able to weaponize the cops. They know to call the police and they will be protected. They take for granted that they will be protected. And Black people now have to use the same word, justice, knowing that a person who has a badge, a thug in a uniform, can kill us. And justice for us then means that at best they might be arrested.
Right.
Let's be clear, there are accomplices. There are people that contributed to the murder of a Black man who was unarmed, who are walking around literally scot-free. So seldom do people get arrested. Seldom are they actually charged. Seldom do they have the consequence of spending time in jail. And even if they do, most of them still get to collect their pension. What most often happens is, and this is what the brother was talking about in terms of that law that they shouldn't be using and applying, which is disproportionately applied to Black folks. I got an article about it coming out soon. I'll send you the data, right?
Please. Yes.
We have the data, right? This is a long way of me saying that, like, people need to keep the same energy who are mad about property when it comes to the lives of Black people, right? The other thing that I want to say, that you use the word riot. That word is appropriate. It was a riot that started this country. Mediocre white men who were pissed off at the fact that you didn't get to inherit privilege unless you were the eldest in the family said, no, fuck this. We're going to take our toys and go somewhere else.
Yes.
They stole Black bodies. They used guns, the fact that they had guns and capital to steal Black bodies and employ transatlantic enslavement. If that's not looting and rioting and all of these other things that they now want to cast upon Black folks, I don't know what is. We learned it from them. And again, anybody who's mad about property, you can miss me with that. The stuff is insured. You can't bring back George Floyd.
Well, you can't have a business without insurance anyway. You can't have a brick and mortar without insurance, period. And that's
you shouldn't. Not in the system that they've designed for their benefit.
You can't have that without insurance. Look, you need to ask Trina Braxton. Listen, I learned a lot.
She got businesses. No, she got businesses. She got businesses.
So I know.
She got businesses, right?
I know. But another part of it is, David, what's so interesting is what what baffles me is I watched something on Instagram, and it was a African American sister who did not understand why Black people were protesting, and that saddened me because and then she was talking about looting and rioting and all that stuff. And my thing is this: you're upset about the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, we have learned from them, because with the KKKs burning down churches and homes and ripping their families apart, and what happened in Rosewood, and then Black Wall Street, and how all of that was burned down because they felt threatened because we were, uprising as a community.
Yeah.
Right. And no one was ever charged. Nothing ever happened with these individuals. So even with what has been going on with the coronavirus, and the businesses has been closed, and how, some individuals went down to the Capitol Center and they were rioting and then going crazy there. And what the president said? Give them what they want.
Right. Well, not my president, because Barack Obama didn't say that, but the man is telling everybody to drink. The man is telling everybody to drink bleach is who said it. Let's be clear. That's not, my president didn't say that. He wouldn't do something irresponsible like that.
Well, no, I mean,
my little light went out. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my light. But again, that's a reflection of the fact that we don't have leadership.
The commander-in-chief said.
Who's commander? Who's commander? You saw the second. You saw his man's was on TV today talking about. I didn't co-sign that. Literally, people in his cabinet are like, I'm not with this dude. I'm not with this dude.
Are you serious? I didn't see that.
Yes. So the stunt that he pulled yesterday, when he walked his ass across that lawn to go stand in front of a building that he never walked in before, to have this staged moment, he blamed on people in his cabinet. One of those people in his cabinet gave a press conference today that was like, that man lied on me. Again, the sad thing is that it won't matter. I'm surprised I'm surprised. Here's my thing. This is how I know God is real. That Bible didn't burst into flames. That's great.
Well, he was asked if that was his Bible. He didn't say it was his Bible.
And if somebody believes that, then I have bottles of white tears that I would like to sell you.
He didn't say it was his Bible. He said it is a Bible.
It is a Bible, right?
It is a Bible.
Jesus. Can I say this?
Yes.
Two things. To the sister's point, we should be saddened by, I don't know if that's gonna help or not. I'm trying to turn on some more light. No, that's not good. We should be saddened, but we should also appreciate that that's how white supremacy works, right? Like, we don't teach history in school. This is why we literally tell kids now still about Christopher Columbus. When any kid can Google,
I don't get that.
Well, again, it is how white supremacy lives, right? I wrote an article that came out today in the Griot. A part of why that sister is confused by what's going on is that we as Black people are not able to take up space to make sense of the mess that white people have made. So what's happened over the last few weeks is that white people, well-intentioned white people, are sending messages to Black folks that they otherwise don't care about to say, hey, how are you? What can I do in this moment to be helpful? So what happens is that the work that we would be doing, talking, having these conversations, we are now doing the work for them. And so what happens is white people are not required to do many things in this country. They definitely are not required to be accountable for their feelings. And so what needs to happen is that white people need to sit with the contradiction of saying that they don't want to be treated like Black people, but allowing that treatment to happen.
Right.
We also can't do that because there is a person who occupies the Oval Office who is an imbecile, who was assisted in stealing the election by the Russians. And he forces us to talk about the stupid things that he does, rather than the fact that people are literally risking their lives during a global pandemic to protest because they are tired.
Mm-hmm. All over the world. I'm just so proud of everyone, because, across the nation, everyone has stood up and said, hey, I've had enough. Enough is enough. From Paris to, where was it?
Amsterdam, Berlin.
Still
not enough people. Yeah, still not enough people. And let's be clear that
New Zealand, I'm just saying, but I think that's amazing. I just think that's amazing, because everyone across these United States said, okay, we feel you, we understand, and we're not going to be silent. And that's what I love that, and I respect that. To me, the it's not, but the individuals who are silent, those are the ones. And I'm like, listen, your silence speaks volumes to me.
It does. It does. You're right. Yep. Especially when they're an elected official, when they took an
Yes.
oath to protect
Yes.
a community, not
Yes.
just a community of people who have the privileges associated with genetic and zip code benefits.
Yes. So you said zip code benefits?
Yeah, we live in a
I
country.
love
We live in a
David.
country.
I love David.
No, listen. We live in a country. Keep it a buck. We live in a country
Yes.
where most people's life outcomes are literally predicted by code, genetic code or zip code. If you give me a map of almost any place in this country and somebody's genetic code, all I really know is if they have one drop, right? If they qualify for 3/5 of recognition per white people, or their zip code, I can tell you almost within 70% validity what their educational, employment, and health outcomes will be. That's how white supremacy and anti-Blackness works.
Wow. I love David.
I love David too.
David's
I'm at my little light stop working. I'm up here standing in the shadow.
That's okay, but you're amazing. Listen, guys, make sure you follow my brother, Mr. David Johns. He's amazing.
Follow
He's just,
NBJC
like
on
I
the
said.
move. Follow the work page, please.
Yes, but what's your work page?
NBJC, we're the National Black Justice Coalition on the move. I'm gonna type it in the comments too.
Yes, and I'll thing it. So I'll pin it. So yes, guys, make sure you follow him. He's like I said, he's like a walking encyclopedia. Dr. David Johns, guys, he's just amazing. And
This sister said, get out there and vote. Do that if that's safe for you.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of states that are testing out ways to have poll workers bring ballots to the car. There are ways to mail in ballots. In some states, it's even safer for you to be able to track your ballot that way. We're working, and there's actually on June 16th, the National Urban League is going to air a panel that I was on yesterday with Tamika Mallory, Judith Brown Dianas, and our sister Janai, NAACP LDF. We are working to make sure everybody who wants to vote can vote safely. For some people, right, if you have kids at home, if you're taking care of people that are high risk, going to some place is not an option. But you should not have to choose between your physical safety, your health, and voting. And so we're trying to make sure that people can vote safely. And if you need assistance with that, hit us at NBJC on the move so we can connect you with resources that are local to you.
Yes, I love David. Thank you so much for coming on here for my takeover. This is my WEtv takeover. I'm taking over.
I love it. I'm all about taking over the space that more privileged people have, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to be an active accomplice, share the power, share the space, write a check.
Oh, let me do this. Let me pin it, y'all, so y'all know. Yes.
Yes,
So
don't go. Oh, the sister said that too. She also said, I appreciate that. These are smart people. See, I know because they're following you, Towanda. The sister said, don't just vote for the president, vote for the mayors. I have a brother named Mike Muse that launched a Vote for Your Quadrant program. It's a digital program. Look him up, Mike Muse. I'll post about it tomorrow. But he essentially reminds us that so much of what's going on now is affected by 4 people that locally most people don't even vote for. Your mayor, your sheriff or your police chief, the district attorney, and who's the last one? The judges. Those people have so much power in our lives, and they often get to just walk into these positions. And so there are a lot of people who have a lot of things to say about the president. That's important. Clearly, they can make things worse. E.g. now, look outside, look at what's going on in the world. But vote down ballot. Make sure that you vote down ballot. And if you also have the ability, Towanda, I appreciate all that you do for your babies and for so many kids around the country. Think about running for school board. So many of our schools could benefit from having people who are woke, who are righteous, who understand the difference between equity and equality, run for school boards too.
Yes, and guys, and do your research. Do your research on the individuals that you're voting for, because just because they're Republican don't mean that they always look at the Republican views. So make sure.
Hell, just because they black don't mean that we should vote for them. All my info,
that's what I mean.
E.g. Ben Carson.
Make sure you do your research. Please do your research. And you can go to vote.org to make sure that you're registered to vote, guys. make sure that you're registered. And then even on vote.org, you can see all of the people that are in your district and in your county that's running for the different positions, guys. So thank you
Yep.
so much, David. I love you, love you,
I
love
love
you.
you. I'm
We
sad
gotta
that I
do this
can't get
again.
to y'all. We'll do it again. I love it, and I can't wait to see y'all real time. Tell
Virtual
Braxton I
hug.
say, hey, he's Braxton
Okay,
too cool for
I'm
a hug. Tell Brookie I say
right.
hi too.
Yes, because I'm about to talk to the exceptional nurse because we're going to talk about the because it's just pause for a moment. So we need to know exactly what's going on with that. Hopefully she will. Come on, exceptional. Yes, she declined. Okay, my girl declined again. That's the third time she declined. Huh? So yeah, she declined again, y'all. But I just wanted her to talk about where is she? Why you keep okay? Exceptional nurse, log off and then log back on, and then I'll be able to add you. So log off, exceptional nurse, and log back on because I'm pretty sure you guys have questions too about the coronavirus. Has it paused? Are we taking an intermission? I mean, what's really going on? Because in light of everything that's going on, and so many people are out and protesting, and as I support those individuals that are, on the front lines, that at the hospitals as well as the front lines and protesting, I want to make sure that we are all safe and that we are aware that we still have to, wash our hands when we get home and, wear our masks and all that stuff. So hopefully she has logged off and she can log back on, hopefully. Exceptional nurse. Let me try it again. Because, yeah, I have questions. And if you guys know the answers, maybe you guys can help me with that. She declined again. So she has to go out and come back in. Or if there's another nurse on here, guys, I just have a few questions. So again, Braxton Family Values is going to be out this year, guys. It's coming out this year, this fall-ish. This fall-ish. And make sure you guys DM me so that I can give you your promotional discount code for Ladybug Skincare. And go to Just Fit, which is me and Jessica Lane's fitness app, so that we can work out. So I'll give you guys an update. Here she is. Let's see. If she declines me this time, I don't know what to say. It could be mine. Says Connecticut. She says she declined again. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, can you just write what you got to say, girl? Because I think I want to know. Has the counts gone up? Because no one is seeing anything on the news. No one is talking about it. And it said you declined, exceptional nurse. Okay, can you tell me where you are, what state you're in, and all that stuff? That'd be great. There are two different packages for Ladybug Skincare. Is the travel package size, and then it's the regular larger size. So the travel size lasts about 2 months, and then the larger package lasts about 4. Ask her to try to send a request. Oh yeah, try to send a request. She's in Houston, Texas. Exceptional nurse. If she sends the request, then maybe that'll work, y'all. Because I really want to know. And I only have a few more minutes left for this takeover for WEtv. Thank you guys for WEtv. Make sure you follow WEtv and watch WEtv on Thursdays, Fridays, every day. Just watch. It said decline again.
Let them know the show's come back on too.
I did that. I said it 3 times.
Some people just not joining them.
Okay, and if you just joined, this is an exclusive since Braxton is taking over WeTV's live. That Braxton Family Values is coming back on this fall. So we're excited, and we hope that you guys are excited too. I did exceptional nurse again, but it keeps saying There must be something wrong with this. See, you see how the world just don't want us to know what's really going on with the coronavirus. But guys, make sure you stay safe out there. And thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you for my very special guest, Damian Carter and Mr. David Johns, David Johns. Yes, guys, he went to Columbia. Yes, so he's pretty brilliant. He went to the same college as President Obama. So, yes, thank you guys so much. Make sure you go to my page, Towanda Braxton. Go to ladybugskincare.com and get your Ladybug Skincare packages. And this, let's see, Exceptional Nurse said, please mask up. You see, that's amazing. And make sure you go to me and my honey's YouTube, King Ladybug, so you guys can see what's going on in our lives. So love you guys. Thank you, WEtv. You guys are amazing. Thank you for allowing me to be on this platform, guys. I love you guys. Make sure you take care of your family and each other. Love you guys. Bye.